Hey there, what's going on? In this video, we're gonna learn some of the most popular, most common, and very important informal words and their formal synonyms. However, before we start, let's quickly recap. What's the difference between informal and formal? When you're talking to family or friends, or you're chatting on social media, posting on Twitter, writing your captions on Instagram, writing birthday cards, and all of that stuff, that would be informal, right? If it's a more professional setting like work, school, with exceptions of course, generally speaking to strangers, if it's some kind of motivation letter, or a formal email, an essay, a university application, cover letter for a job, that would be formal. Now, you always have to remember to recognize what the environment around you is. That's how you know if you should be formal or informal. All right, good. Now that we got it out of the way, let's start with the words.
Everything's in English.
All you need to know.
All right, how did you learn to speak English?
All right, so the first one obviously is very popular, and I'm sure you know it. Start. The verb start. The formal version of that would be to commence. To commence.
Commence countdown.
Can you remember the formal way of saying to end? Okay. It would be to terminate. Also, the word terminate could be used to talk about, getting rid of someone, making someone disappear, killing someone. Oh my God, like in this Star Wars clip.
Terminate her immediately.
Now let's talk about a few phrasal verbs with the word look. Of course, they are phrasal verbs, and by default, they're all going to be informal. The first one would be to look for. To look for is an informal way of saying that you're searching for something. And the formal way to say that would be to seek.
What you seek.
To look into is an informal way of saying to investigate.
Maybe you should look into that.
If two separate different things have, some things in common as far as their appearance, that they look similarly, you could say this thing looks like this thing, and this thing looks like that thing, right? Or you could use the formal version, which is resemble.
That's preposterous. I do not resemble C-3PO.
And just like look, the phrasal verbs with the word come also have a lot of formal alternatives. For example, to come after, you could say to follow.
Back foot follows.
Come back, come back. The formal way to say that would be return.
I shall return shortly.
And when someone's knocking on your door and you want to say come in, you could also say enter. That would be the formal way to say that.
Identity match. Please enter the panic room now.
If you desire to master phrasal verbs, vocabulary, grammar, and all the stuff that you need to speak English confidently and to feel free, you should definitely check out our course From Intermediate to Advanced. We designed this course to help you guys, the students who are stuck, for students who feel like they can't move. Our goal is to help you make progress and fall in love with learning English all over again. Thousands of students have already completed this course, so check it out. The link is down below. Now let's get back to it. Here's a few things you can use at work. When you talk about something, it's informal. So sometimes, different work environments of course are different, and I haven't really seen a work environment that was very strict and very formal and very stiff, of course. However, everyone kind of goes through it in their first days at work, you know what I'm saying? So instead of saying talk about something, you can say discuss.
We'll discuss this later.
Now you're working on an idea, right? You're trying to think of something. Now, if you want to let people know that you're thinking of something, you could also just use the formal version and say to conceive.
I can't even conceive of them.
Now, a very common thing in work emails, okay? When you want to ask for something, do not say ask for, say request. That's way more powerful, and it's formal. It sounds very nice, sounds firm. It's just very good in general.
I specifically requested it.
To deal with is an informal way of saying to manage, like a manager, like the job. If you're a manager, you manage things and people. So instead of saying to deal with, say to manage.
I'm trying to manage it.
Now in meetings and discussions in general, you know, the conversation is flowing and it's nice, but you feel like you want to start talking about something else. You want to bring in a new topic. You want to bring up something else, right? So instead of saying to bring up, you can say to introduce. I would like to introduce, and whatever it is that you're introducing.
Your Honor, I introduce as evidence Government Exhibit 27B.
Now, another one is, it's a very good one. If you want to speak to someone, if you're requesting to speak to someone, instead of speak to, you can say to address. I would like to address you.
I'd like to address the group, if I may.
Also, aside from talking to someone, you can use the word address to talk about certain topics, right? To speak about something. I would like to address this issue.
Your Honor, I'd like to address a separate issue.
Now we're done with verbs. Let's move on to some adjectives. I am hungry right now. And to say hungry, you could also use the word famished. Now, the word famished does have, of course, more of a formal sound to it, as well as it sounds a little more extreme. It's a little stronger than just hungry, so keep that in mind as well.
We are famished.
Now, if you want to say hopeless or pointless, you can say futile.
Resistance is futile.
On the other hand, if you're talking about something funny, a joke or a funny situation, you can say humorous or amusing. Or even to take it to another level, to make it a little stronger, you could say hilarious.
That's an amusing factoid.
Now, in a formal setting, instead of saying better or worse, you could use powerful words like superior and inferior. So better means superior, or superior means better, and inferior means worse.
It takes superior mind.
Are we an inferior gender?
Now, everybody has a coworker like that. They are an adult, of course, but they just act like a child, right? So I don't know why I'm giving you this, but you might find it useful. Instead of saying childish, you could say immature.
So immature!
Now, if you want to talk about something very large in size, instead of saying big or huge, you can say considerable.
There is considerable risk, Captain.
And now, last but not least, let's look at a few introductory words. These will be very helpful to you when you're writing something, especially when you're writing something. Now, let's say you're writing something, or even if you're talking about it and you want to introduce an example. So instead of using the overused for example, you can say for instance.
Like this morning, for instance.
Now, when you keep talking about, different points and arguments, and you keep bringing them up, this and that, and this and that, and this and that, do not use words like plus or also or next. You can use words like moreover or furthermore.
Furthermore, I have another fine painting in mind.
And now when you try to present a counter argument, okay, do not say anyway or anyways, say nevertheless. It's gonna be very good, I promise.
Nevertheless, I must depart.
You and I, in this video, just wanna let you know, we've learned 50 most common formal and informal words. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you don't wanna miss new lessons every week. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.